Hi Internet, welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing a little bit of Riibalanced, the new one, version 5.0. Be sure to get it down in the link in the video description. This is a mod pack that we have developed as a community, and it aims to balance and change a lot of things in the game. So that includes vehicle balance, item balance, course balance, pretty much everything that you could imagine. So today we're going to be going over the most important things, which are the different vehicles. Today's video is all about the standard Kart M, which I think is probably the most generic, but also the most iconic vehicle in Mario Kart Wii to most people. One of the things that has changed in the mod is the CPUs are much harder, so they're actually quite a bit of a challenge, especially on the simpler tracks where the computer doesn't have to calculate how to drive. Now, even though I am the sole developer for the mod pack, one thing I do not have a whole lot of experience with is the variety of different vehicles. So I actually don't know how to use this vehicle very well. I'm normally, I've always been a flame runner, like funky flame runner kind of guy. There's gonna be a little bit of lag. I'm playing on Dolphin, and all the shaders need to be like recalculated, so don't mind that too much. One thing that a lot of people don't know for Rebalanced is the item distribution is actually the same when you're playing offline as if it was stock Nintendo. That was one of the few things that we didn't actually change. So when you're playing online, the item distribution of the probability of which items you're gonna get, that's different. But when you're playing offline, it's actually the same. It's very similar. I wouldn't say it's the same. I think I did change some variables. Also, what the heck is happening? Kind of destroying the CPUs right now. The CPU has like this weird little netcode that I realized. If you're in second place, the CPUs tend to slingshot really bad. But as soon as you break off into first, nothing seems to happen. So we're going to have a bit of a breakaway here with a Mega Mushroom. I don't know how I snagged that. I don't know if CPUs follow like standard traditional things where they could like get item boxes relative. I'm use a Mega Mushroom here. The Super Blooper is definitely one of the most controversial things that I think was added to the Rebalance mod pack, simply because it is very difficult to drive with when you are, you can't see. But that's something that a lot of casual players have been complaining about because it raises the skill ceiling. So you need to be able to drive without seeing the road, which is something that you could do as you get better at the game. But it kind of like limits, like it makes it very difficult for beginners to play. I actually have quite a bit of coding experience because I used to be a coder. Like that's how I learned the game. And then I eventually moved on to a funky flame runner and using like an inside drifting bike. So I went from the standard bike S, if you could believe that, standard bike M, or just the standard bikes in general. I moved on to the standard quirks. I went to the Wild Wing, and then I went from Mach Bike to Flame Runner, and that's kind of like my competitive history. I'm doing the snaking lines wrong. One thing that a lot of coders were complaining about was the line. Oop, that's a bit unfortunate. The lines that you take are different, the snaking lines, because a lot of carts have different snake patterns, simply because some vehicles drift tighter and have stronger mini turbos than others. And also different speeds, of course. Everything is moving quite a bit faster in this mod pack. Rosalina here. So you'll notice that if I'm in second place, that Yoshi is going to slingshot really fast, as you can see right here. I don't know why the CPU is programmed like that. When you break away in first, the CPUs don't care. But when you're in second place, the third place is ridiculously fast, and I just don't know why. It's like a weird slingshot mechanic. So if you're struggling playing against the CPUs, just keep that piece of tidbit information in the back of your head. Also, one thing you got to be aware of as well, fast falling, just like CTGP 200cc is implemented, and there's also, hold up, let me see if I can get that. I love the way carts stick on that. It makes it really easy to do that trick. As well as brake drifting. Brake drifting is implemented as well to make it so certain vehicles that's not the Funky Kong like Flame Runner standard has a little easier over time. More options. It allows you to control it slightly better. It's gonna have a little bit of a break here on DK Summit, which I'm okay with. Let me see if I could get... Oh, one more thing that I need to mention on DK Summit. There were extra item boxes added, which I think raised the skill ceiling quite a bit. I think that eliminating the factor... Like, there's definitely a time and place for certain parts of the track... Oops, I screwed that up. To have limited item sets. So, people in first or people who come before, there's like a cycle period. So that way, people in the mid-pack, someone doesn't get randomly lucky and get like a golden in sixth. Which does happen when you play online. But I also believe that trying to minimize like certain spots of the track where there's a lot of congestion by adding more item sets, it makes it so the track is more dynamic online. There was a lot of that. There's when I was balancing the game, there was a lot of tugging at one thing, and then like another thing would give. So it's called balancing for a reason. You don't just whack one side of the spectrum. You gotta constantly find balance in everything that you could do. And I hope we found that. The only thing I'm not too sure about the balance of this mod so far is the vehicles, which is why, you know, along with kind of teaching you guys how the vehicles work, I also want to just make sure that all the vehicles are, like, nothing stands out above the rest, or nothing gets left behind the pack. Because I think that currently the meta for Rebalanced, from what I've seen from what people were playtesting, the performance trans vehicles are definitely the superior vehicles as of right now. So those are vehicles like the Honey Coupe. Those are vehicles, I think the Day Tripper as well. Mini turbo-based vehicles and performance transmission vehicles. They're king right now. Also, I believe this thing, most vehicles have really good acceleration, so you don't have to SSMT. I don't even think the Flame Runner you have to SSMT. Someone's welcome to correct me on that. That's something we haven't tested. One of the small things that we changed, which kind of had like a big implication, which kind of changed, I think it's the most, or the biggest change that we've done to Mario Kart Wii, make Rebalance not feel like Mario Kart Wii, was the addition of so much acceleration. Every vehicle combination pretty much has really good acceleration. Every combination. With, you know, a few outlying exceptions. For the most part, you will never have to SSMT for pretty much any vehicle. And that includes the Flame Runner, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that. What am I doing? I haven't played Mario Kart in a very long time, so sometimes I'm gonna miss input. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Also, I'm not doing snake lines because, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot the snake lines on this course. There's something like, Maple Treeway is a really difficult kart track. So just in general. And I remember, like, I blocked that memory out. I think brake drifting is actually really helpful here. I kept flying up. So, for instance, that's a great example of, like, when brake drifting is useful. As someone who's, like, not completely familiar with the snake lines and the driving patterns or the driving characteristics of the kart, having a brake drift, just to make sure that I could do certain corners, and actually still have that level of control, is really nice. One thing that I also don't think I mentioned, which I did implement, a very small, subtle change that a lot of people I'm gonna be honest, only karters... Ooh, what the heck is happening? You didn't see that. One thing that only karters would really notice is the slide effect that most karts normally have, or most outside drifting bikes have. The slide effect that most karts have when they come off ramps or when they're in a drift, that was all reduced. So we basically upgraded every tire in the game, if you can think of it like that. We upgraded the tires to be more grippy for every vehicle class. So it makes it so karts do slide, and they will feel, hopefully, just as natural, but they won't have that weird after slide, which you would normally get when you land from using a normal kart. Also, the top speed was increased for everything. So the average top speed for Mario Kart Wii, like the peak was like 97, 98, like the spear. And the bottom was like, the standard for most vehicles was, I want to say, ooh, hello. That's actually the first shot. I want to say it was around 92. That was like the average for most vehicles, like the average speed. Yeah, that's gone. The average speed right now is about 100 km/h for everything. So the game is faster. And the nice thing about making the game faster is speed matters less the faster you go. So for instance, if you have one vehicle combination that's like 80 km/h, you know, speed top speed wise, and then another combination that's 90, that's a huge difference. But if you have one that is, let's say that they're going at 800 km/h, which is a stupid amount of speed for Mario Kart Wii, and then you have another vehicle that's going 900, that doesn't matter as much, because realistically, you're never going to get above, you know, a couple hundred anyway. So having that extra top speed does not matter. It's kind of like when cars, and if any of you guys, none of you guys are old enough to remember this, but I'm sure you read about it in the history books, when cars were getting to the point where every car could do like 100 miles an hour, like there was a legitimate point in time when cars could not keep up on, like keeping up on speed was, on the highway was a legitimate concern for a lot of vehicles. Like some vehicles just flat out could not do more than 40 miles an hour. And like the standard over here is 60 miles an hour. So there were vehicles that just legitimately could not do that. And that must have been a time to be alive. That was a long time ago. Like now your mom's Toyota Prius could do like 120 on the downhill. Like, yeah. Speed matters less when you hit the apex point of what a vehicle should be, or like the average speed of what the game was made to handle, or the environment was made to handle. Alright, let's move on. Be sure to grab your copy of Mario Kart Rebalanced version 5 today. Be sure to join the Discord server for technical supports and how to install, and have fun. Mario Kart Rebalanced version 5, available now.